Hey everyone, Battleground here. Welcome to my first build video. This is a Battleground build focused on solo BGs where you can do tons of damage and tons of healing. It's got great crowd control, you can get tons of kills. It's just an all-around, it's a great build. Hope to share it with you. Just keep in mind this is my first build video ever and I have zero video editing skills. So just have a good time. So what is this build specifically? It's meant for like small group PvP action BGs. It works best when both teams are grouped up, right? It's got heals on the ground, damage on the ground. So as teams are steady together, it works the best. You will be at a disadvantage if you're trying to 1vx or even 1v1, though you can do that. So you got to be a warden. You're using 2 warden skill lines, and you're taking out the winter skill line for storm calling. We're using the torque of the last alien king because we're doing healing and damage and focused on getting as much of both as possible. We want to have as much spell and weapon damage as possible, and you want to focus into that. So it's just a great mythic for that. I run 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, mostly to get those undaunted passives, and I want to be as tanky as possible. You want to stay alive. You want to keep your team alive. Lightning staff front bar, resto staff back bar. I run 1 swift on almost all my BG builds, and then 2 infused, all with spell damage. If you can do tri-stat on the big pieces, Magicka on the small, that works too. And I am using the Atronach Mundus. You can pick whatever Mundus you want, but I'm using Atro. So for your skills, you got Deep Fissure for tons of burst, both major and minor breach. Shocking Explosion, you go shocking because you get the storm calling, 5%. I also get my major crit buff from this. I'll talk about it later. We get Streak, Force Pulse. Force Pulse is also really good because it's going to hit 2 other people every time you use it with Shocking Explosion, because Shocking Explosion automatically applies status effects. Mage's Wrath is still probably the best execute in the game. Put it on someone and just try to burst them down, hitting shocks when you can. And then Dawnbreaker. On the back bar where you get most of your healing, we've got Echoing Vigor. This is something you can sub out if you want, but it seems like the best bang for your buck. Hurricane for Resolve, Betty, hit it all the time, it's great. Budding Seeds for that massive AoE burst. Healing Soul, which is my favorite skill on this build. Running it with the charm is just so powerful. And then Healing Thicket, get those trees down, keep people alive. So here's the stat sheet. I do run 64 points into health. That's just the way I play. You do not have to play the way that I play. I wouldn't even look at the stat sheet. I tend to not look at stat sheets all that much. But this is what I'm working with. So once you set up the build, how do you actually do this? So if you have a healer on your team, you can definitely use Dawnbreaker a ton. Focus on setting up, Shock into Elemental Explosion and trying to get those Dawnies down and just burst people down. If you don't have a healer, you need to be ready to use trees. You're probably going to be using trees significantly more than Dawnbreaker, and just keep your team up and then get to the front bar and put that damage down. The offensive rotation is you hit Shock and then you immediately hit Ellie Explosion where you want it to be, and then you aim your Shock, ending in a Force Pulse or a Dawnbreaker if you have it. That is a massive amount of damage. It's the main source of burst. When you're going one-on-one, you want to have Mage's Wrath on your target when your Shocks are going to go off. So Shocks, then you hit someone with Mage's Wrath, and then you just try to pound them down with Force Pulse. But knowing when and how to use Elemental Explosion is key because it's got a 2-second cast time. It should always be timed with shocks and another skill, and even be used with streak when it goes off. So these scoreboards are all from solo BGs that I did recently. Every game's different, but you can kind of see a variety of score sheets and what damage and healing numbers and kill numbers looks like across the board. So here you go. So for scribing, for Wield Soul, it's healing, Warden class mastery, and vitality. For elemental explosion, shock damage, because we get 5% added shock damage from storm calling passes. Assassin's misery, so we can get status effects for extra instant damage, plus makes force pulse hit 2 extra targets. And then this is our spot to get our major crit, so that's where we're getting it here. Here are a couple examples of those skills in action. Yeah, so a quick note on healing. If you want to replace a skill, it's that group vigor. You can do whatever you want with it. Usually a hot, because that's the only source of hot, but vines or even resolving vigor are good ways to go. Budding seeds is your best friend. If you don't know how to use it, learn. It's great. It hits so hard. Then Wield Soul will always hit the lowest health teammate within 28 meters. So if you're not the lowest health teammate, but you'd like to get some health back, that is not going to work. And the charm from this is such a tide turner. In every battle, use it. Well, if you made it this far, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, or whatever people tell you to do. And if enough people want me to do more, I got multiple other builds ready to go.